Welcome back to Jackson Square. Today we're looking at TEAC 6.7D that says I can generate equivalent expressions using the operation properties, blah, 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 blah. Welcome back to Jackson Square. Today we're continuing to look at TEAC 6.7D, which says I can generate equivalent expressions using the properties of operation. Operation. Okay. So on yesterday, we talked about commutative, associative. We talked about identity, inverse, zero is my hero. We talked about distributive. We talked about distributive property. We talked about all of these properties and we got in a little bit of practice, but today we're going to do some more. We definitely want to jump in and practice as much as possible, okay? So it says follow the directions to complete the work on the following slides. Be sure to use your notes in your interactive notebook and ask questions if you need more help. Submit your work, completed work in Schoology. So it says drag each of the equations to the appropriate green box according to the property it demonstrates. So there's A through J, and we're going to drag them where they go. So I'm going to do one commutative, one associative, one identity. I just noticed inverse isn't even on here. Hey, look at that. So I guess I'll do a zero property. So let's go with commutative. Remember commutative. Commutative means to travel or to move. The numbers are moving. So I'm going to do the commutative property of addition. So I'm going to look for an addition problem where the numbers are moving. So numbers are moving around. So here's an addition problem. 11 plus negative 2 is equal to negative 2 plus 11. So the numbers moved. 11 went from being in the front to being in the back. So that is commutative. I'm going to drag that here. And then we see I want to do associative property of multiplication. So remember, associative is about the grouping, who you hang out with, who you're being grouped with. The parentheses moves, okay? So the parentheses is shifting, okay? The parentheses is shifting. So I'm looking for a multiplication problem where it looks like the parentheses shifted. The numbers are in the same order, but the parentheses is shifting. So I'm looking for multiplication. I see here negative 5, 7, 4, negative 5, 7, 4. First, 7 is grouped with 4. They're together. And then that parenthesis shifts, and then 7 is grouped with 5. Okay, so notice what's inside the parentheses. Okay, those numbers are in the same order, negative 5, 7, 4, but the parentheses physically shifted from right to left, and that makes this associative property of multiplication. Remember, these properties have to do with addition and multiplication. Addition is commutative. You can change the order of the numbers and then still get the same answer. Associative property has to do with multiplication and addition as well. You move the parentheses, the answer is still going to be the same. Well, yeah, the same. Now let's look at identity. So identity property says if you add 0 to me, I'm still myself. That's the property of addition. And the multiplicative says if you multiply me times 1, I'm still myself. So I'm going to do the additive identity property. So I'm going to look for a problem where they are adding 0, but on the other side of the equal sign, I still see myself. I'm still myself. Addition, this one is not the same. So I'm still myself. 11 plus 0, I still see myself. I did not change. That is the identity property, okay? The identity property. I just noticed I definitely made this document and I don't see there's a box for inverse, but I'm going to do an inverse. So I'm going to do an inverse, multiplicative inverse. Remember, inverse is if you multiply me times my reciprocal, I'm going to be 1. Okay, if you multiply me times my reciprocal, if you add me, add my opposite to me, I'm going to be 0. So for addition, it's adding your opposite, and for multiplication, it's multiplying times your reciprocal to get 1. So multiplicative inverse property says if you multiply me times my reciprocal, I'm going to be 1. So a multiplying problem times a reciprocal. Clearly we see that this is being multiplied, and I apologize. This is being multiplied times its reciprocal. So this would be J is inverse. So right as of now, there is no box for inverse, but I'm going to add a box, and this would be inverse property, okay? So this is the inverse property. So you're going to go and finish this assignment. You're going to find the other commutative property for multiplication. You're going to find the other associative property for addition. You're going to find the additive property, the multiplicative identity. You're going to find the additive inverse. You're going to find a distributive property example and a zero property example. Good luck.